Good morning, Giants. Welcome to Wake Up with Giants TV. Nick, I'm a little anxious. Are you a little anxious?
Always.
Well, good news. Anxiety isn't the real problem. We're going to show you what is. It's time to wake up the Giant. Boom. Good morning, Giants. Welcome to Wake Up with Giants TV. I'm Ryan Morris, co-creator of Wake Up with Giants TV, a tribe of giants and 12 Journeys Coaching, and wrote in a book called The Journey of Riches. It's all about kindness. You can find that on Amazon. And I'm here with Mr. Nicholas Anxious T. Smith.
Anxiously.
Just a low level buzz of anxiety all the time. He when he's anxious, he writes books, and he wrote this book, The Giants and the Smalls. It's the reason why we're here. And I met Nick in 2018, 19.
Yeah, somewhere
End of
there.
18, first of 2019. And I too had some anxieties and found this book that Nick wrote. And the journey has continued from there. And Nick has continued to write more books. We've got an incredible website. We've got this podcast. We've got a tribe of giants on Facebook. We've got endless AI apps that will help you along the way. And Nick, why don't you queue up the website that you've got there?
I will do that. And
Show them some of these creations that you've done, because it's amazing. If you're going through the stuff of life, this is a place to go.
That's what we call it, the stuff of life.
Stuff of life.
So you can grab all the books here on the website. So when you go to my12journeys.com, it's going to pull you into the landing page here. We just did an update recently just to make it look a little cleaner for navigation. I get into the space of just overloading with information, and so I had to go clean up a little bit. But you'll come in, you'll pick your journey, whether it's for individual, for couples, or for your organization. And each of these has its own pathway that you can go down to learn about the 12 journeys and how they can impact your life. The 12 journeys are engineered around the book, The Giants and the Smalls, The Adventure of Remy and Rit. Inside of the training program, we have 12 new characters, 12 new journeys. We do teach in metaphor and science. And so we teach with metaphor, back it up with science. And so it's a really powerful program. I tried to find things that worked because for me, I was doing the therapy and the medications and they just weren't hitting. And so I needed to find something that could work for me. And so that's where this program came from. And it's evolved into something powerful. And so if you're an individual and you're just trying to get on your journey and you're not sure where to start, just come in and start reading. That's a powerful tool. I'm going to add in an AI chatbot here on the homepage that you can converse with, and it'll dive pretty deep into your world and help you break free. For our participants of our program, we always load you up with content and tools to help you navigate your transformation. And so you'll see just a slew of tools inside of here to help you grow. So these are only available to those that are in the program or have gone through it. And we give lifetime access to those that have gone through it so that they can come back and revisit this as often as they want. This is one of my favorite new tools is Notebook LM, because it really dives deep into the 12 journeys. There's over 300 sources per journey. And we give you access to our slide decks, our videos, our podcasts, and you can go through on your own and really dive deep into each of the 12 journeys. So really, really cool tool, and trying to find ways to serve you that actually are useful rather than just give you more tools. And so that's where we're narrowing down and trimming. So hopefully that helps. Go to my12journeys.com, check it out. If you want to have a conversation, reach out to myself or Ryan, and we'll dive deep with you. And then from that conversation, we're not going to try and sell you, but you can see if it's going to be a fit for you to do this. And it's been very useful for our clients. So anything to add to that?
And we're going to add one more piece of content on this show. So it's fantastic. Right. We're just one more thing to serve you. And all the way from France today, will you introduce our guest?
Absolutely. So our guest today, Anais Malaval, is a powerful emotional intelligence profiler and trainer with nearly 15 years of experience. She specializes in helping people who feel invisible or disconnected, people who've learned to stay quiet just to feel safe, reconnect with their emotional identity, and build real self trust. So, using the EQI 2.0 and real time emotional work, Anais doesn't just teach theory, she helps you feel the work. She's known for her raw, grounded approach to anxiety and identity and for guiding people back to a life they truly love. So get ready to shift your entire understanding of anxiety and finally come home to yourself. Massive welcome to Anais Malaval. So it's good to have you.
Thank you. Thank you to be here. I'm really, really happy to be here with you guys.
It's
We
pretty
work
awesome.
together as well.
Yeah. You went through our program.
Yes, we work together. I've done the 12 journey with you. And yeah, it really brought some clarity in me that I feel I already had before, but it really like confirmed it into who I was or who I am and what I wanted my legacy to be to live in this world. Does that make sense?
That does make sense. And we're throwing this communication all the way across the ocean to France. So there's a little bit of a delay here. But you know, that's what happens when you throw good information across an ocean, right? So Anais, walk us through your history a little bit. Tell us how you came to be who you are today and kind of what led up to you doing this work around anxiety and identity.
Wow, where to start? Where to start? You know, when you losing yourself, it started for me really with a profound distress of feeling like my life wasn't in the way I used to do things and who I was, and I felt so lost in that. Like even I felt like a loss of kind of an identity. Like I didn't recognize who I was in where I was at the time and what I was doing. And it really is so, it's like a vortex where you're just being swallowed and you don't know where to start. You have no idea. And then I went into emotional intelligence, which was something that really helped me to create a strong sense of who I am. And I thought, okay, I've got the tools, I've got everything. Now I know who I am. If life gives me a curveball, I'm set. And guess what?
The third one.
Nope. Nope.
No.
And I feel there's a part of so many of us, and I feel even in the coaching industry where you get so many tools, so many things, and you think, okay, that's it. No pain. I'm happy. I'm healed. And then you get smashed in the face. Because I think this is just part of life. And the trust there that you're building while you crashing, it's so important to experience this. Like there's no knowledge and no tools that would bring that for you. You got to live the in. And sometimes I was like, oh my God, I'm an emotional intelligence profiler. Like, why do I feel this way? Why am I not such a calm? Why do I have anger? Why I keep having this sadness? And I'm an emotional intelligence profiler. What's wrong with me? You know? And this judgment where I realized doing your course and even before, but it slips a little bit, you know, your ego goes in and it's just sleeping. And the fact that you're with another person in the same space, that connection, vulnerability, then something click in your mind. especially with someone who can give you space and listen to you, then it brings this, I don't know how to say, it's just a lived in experience. It's very difficult for me to just explain it, but it's more, it's like you're coming back home from a hard day of work and you put your slippers on and then you sat down on the couch and then you finally breathing. It's a coming home feeling. It's the best way I could explain it. And that's what I've experienced in your course and helped me get this going back to the roots, really, which is having compassion for myself and a little, it's gonna sound very weird. However, I want to say maybe love into the pain. So yeah, that's something that really that helped me create a really strong sense of who I am. That now, even if life happens and give me a curveball, I'm not gonna drown into it, because the trust that I have in myself and the capacity of me being in compassion with myself is so strong that I know I'm okay. It's not even knowing, it's a feeling. It's an embodiment of it.
Yeah. So this ties perfectly. Yeah, this ties perfectly into anxiety because, often we get concerned, or depression. Lisa Feldman Barrett in her work talks about the gap between who we are and who we think we should be, or who we are and who society thinks we should be. And that's where we experience this unrest. And when we don't know who we are, that becomes even worse. If we can't count on ourselves, I think of my first conversation with Steve Hardison back in the day, and I asked him the question, can you? And he said yes without hesitation. And I said, how can you say yes if you don't know what I'm going to ask? And he said, there's nothing you can ask that's bigger than me. And I put that into the book because I didn't fully understand that lesson back then. But when you look at any navigator of the world that steps into the unknown, they may not know what to expect in the world that they're going to run into, but they know for certain that they can count on themselves to handle whatever comes up. Do you find that to be the case for you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'd like to add to that is, I don't know if you remember that moment in the course when I was trying to explain to you, or just share my truth about how I was feeling, and I told you I was emotional, and you just, do you know what you said? I don't know if you remember that
Oh, help
moment.
me out. Yeah.
But you said, I feel that too. And that's all you said. You didn't bring any tools or trying to put your story into it, or trying to fix me, or trying to I don't know, having an agenda. You just been there, present in the lived in experience. And this is what I want emotional intelligence to be, not a just a tool or someone teaching you everything about it. Yeah, that's fine. Knowledge is fine, but the feeling is so different. And I think you said it as well in the course, like there's a difference between thinking you know who you are and feeling who you are. So yeah, no, yeah, I completely feel what you're saying early on.
Let's play with the anxiety, because this is something that I think a lot of people face, and there's a misunderstanding of what anxiety is. And it is an alarm system. It's essentially your body saying that something is off in your environment. And the way our brain works is it is an energy conservation machine. And so it really doesn't care what you program in. It just wants to conserve energy and be efficient at what it does. So it programs things to automate them so that we can do that. So when we start to create ideals, now we're moving ourselves out of our comfort zone into this world that we've never been in before. And we do that in relation to other people and our own ideals. And that's when we create this dissonance between who we currently are and what we're trying to become, right? And the funny thing about this is there's no becoming, as if you're going to get somewhere. It's really, you come back to when you start to get clear on who you are and rewrite that, then that gap closes to you. It's not like you go to it comes to you, and that gap closes because of who you are, right? Can you expound on that a little bit?
Yes. And yeah, totally. Because, and again, I think it's coming back to the knowledge. It's like you can have so many you can say so many affirmation in a day. I am beautiful. I am not. I am happy. But the system doesn't sink in because there is no link into it.
Yeah.
You have a feeling in your body, and that feeling doesn't go away. But you can't just rewrite your brain and say, hey, I'm going to just rewired you for a year, and I'm going to give you affirmation. It's going to be okay. It's so much. There's so much more layers to it, because there's a story that you're attaching to. There's a meaning that you're attaching to, and then this will show up depending on whatever situation you are in, and especially in heightened emotional situation. We always say the closest you are to a person, the bigger your button will be pushed. Yeah, I think we all experience that.
I agree. It's like, but the reason being is that they start to know you exactly as you are, not what you say you are. And a person that's close to you really sees through all the masks that you put on for the world. And so I think what happens is when our buttons get pushed, if we're not emotionally intelligent, we tend to go back to our survival programming that we created at some point in the past to survive situations that are similar to what we're facing right now. And so we tend to go really unconscious in that situation because, we haven't really programmed ourselves to be able to handle it in a new way. And so this is where you see people revisit their traumas, their negative traits and behaviors. I know this word gets thrown out a lot, narcissism. It's like, good God, every fucking human is a narcissist, according to TikTok, right? It's like that's an impossibility. So, but we go back to these traits that feel like that, or like borderline, or any of these other things, or anxiety. And we go back to these protectors, and they're unhealthy protectors, even though they got us through a hard situation. Can you add to that?
Yeah, absolutely. And you said it clearly there, which is the reason we keep doing the same thing is because we haven't open our eyes to something new, to a new possibility. And so the unconsciousness way of behaving will still be there. So no matter what you're gonna say to yourself, affirmations or whatever knowledge you're gonna get from emotional intelligence, if you don't open your eyes and wake up and have awareness of where in my life this unconsciousness have played, and where can I bring more consciousness in today from the unconsciousness of yesterday? And unless you bring that in your life, you're going to replay the same thing, because you learned this from what, you're 6 years old. That's all you knew.
Yeah.
For what? Some are 50 years, 40 years old. They've done that all their life. And I'm very interested.
It's got a free pass, right? So because it's been programmed in and never questioned, it has a free pass. And so the brain, because it seeks automation and efficiency, is like, hey, I've got this. I can run this program without any conflict or resistance. I'm just going to run it. And then it runs it, and then it really messes up our life, because that what we learned back then when we were so ill-equipped is trying to run our life now, and it's not really educated or elevated enough to do that. And unless we slow down with it, this is where when I said to you, I feel that too. I wasn't feeling your feelings. I'm saying, look, I go through the same experiences over here, right? I go through those feelings too over here. And it doesn't matter how much you know this work. It's like we're going to go through, when we get triggered, some of our old patterns of programming, and they're going to be similar to yours, to Ryan's, to anybody else, right?
Absolutely. And I didn't expand on this, but I do agree with you that I didn't feel that you felt me necessarily, but you felt you, because as you feeling you could then be with me.
Mm.
And that's when I feel a lot of coaching spaces, I want to say forget, or are too much into the maybe too much into the knowing, and then the space just is, the person teaching is there and then the other person is there, but then in our space we shared, Nick and me, you made me there, and that's what make a difference, you know.
That's how
And
Nick
I
is.
don't know if I'm trying to explain this right.
No, that's perfect. Yeah.
It is
I
perfect.
mean,
That is
yeah,
exactly how Nick is. That I had the exact same experience with Nick when the very first time that I had the opportunity to have a call with Nick, and to where I got to go through some of my stuff, is he did have some knowledge that I didn't know and understand yet. But instead of making me feel like I was, like he was a superior, and I'll grace you with my knowledge, it was, hey, I see you because I've been through that type of stuff. So there was the connection that he made, and the level of empathy and understanding, and then it was like, hey, let's lock arms together, and as we navigate this, I'll show you how to do it in real time. Like, it's happening, I'll be right there with you. Let's go, and I'll show you how to do it. And that's how he creates everything.
yeah,
Is not from the space
real
of
connection.
a giant looking down. It's hop on my shoulder and let's walk together.
Yeah, it's real connection, it's vulnerability. And yeah, you said it all, you said it all.
Thank you.
It's interesting,
Yeah.
the giants and the smalls, the whole book. Nick didn't write this based on the 12 journeys. He didn't map out and go, hey, what's 12 journeys that I can write this book about? He had a conversation in a parking lot with Steve Hardison, who's a masterful coach.
Yeah,
And Steve Hardison then put him on his shoulder, gave him a new perspective, stood up and gave him a new perspective. And then Nick driving up and down a canyon every day here in Utah, seeing multi-million-dollar houses and all these people that didn't even seem affected by the economy at the time. He was feeling so small, and this download came through. And it's so divinely inspired that years later we came up with the 12 journeys. Like, they morphed, like we pulled it out of it. It was there the whole time. We pulled it out of it, but really, truthfully, like, all of this stuff was inside of Nick already. It was already, he knew what to do based on what had happened with him, with Steve Hardison, et cetera, and all the training and all the coaches and all the things before him. And when you talk about anxiety, it's a tricky thing, because just like you said, you've got your whole life, you've got all of the wherever you were raised, you've got your culture, all the belief systems, the experiences that you've had, that now your brain has gone to support you. And so a lot of times they've made that bond really, really tight, really, really tough. So when an instant comes up where you feel anxiety, you don't even think about it anymore. This is how you react.
yeah,
So going back in the 12 journeys, there's unconsciousness. It's unconscious. It's automated. Your brain knows what to do to keep
absolutely.
Brian Morris safe, to keep Nick Smith safe. We knew what to do really, really well. And
Oh yeah.
we can count on ourselves to keep us safe because we knew what to do. Then once you wake up, like you said, and you become aware, now there's something to do, which can also present more anxiety. it can present it can
Right.
present grief. It can present judgments. It could present all kinds of things where now that's where the work begins. That's where some courage and a little bit of bravery, little bit of desire to do something or to have something different comes into play. Can you speak about that?
Yeah, I do hear you in that so much. I mentioned earlier so many times I thought, damn, I'm an emotional intelligence profiler. What don't I know
Mm.
better? And that's the story all over again.
And the
And
judgment.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And we're so harsh. We're so harsh, Ryan, on ourselves. And when we notice it, I think it's just a noticing and finding a pose where you can notice it. And I know this was my most challenging thing, which is finding the pose in an emotional heightened situation, which is, hold on, right now I've got loads of emotions coming on up in me. I need a moment. I need to stay to relax and stay still in that for now. And
How,
then
how did you find that
notice.
pause?
Yeah, that's the work, isn't it? That's the work. And sometimes you don't find that pose. And when you don't, what do you do? Are you becoming more harsh on yourself? Are you judging even more yourself? Or can you have compassion for yourself and be okay, I haven't found my pose. Let's do it again next time. Like there has to be a what's next, not a shooting yourself down, because then you go into that spiraling of all those judgments. All the judgments and the anxiety and the stress and the overwhelm. And yeah, you're just drowning.
That
And
that is where
these
people
questions are really important. What's
that's
next?
that's where
Yeah.
people get stuck, is um as the emotions come up and they drown in that, and then they do anything with it. So they find themselves recovering from the emotional bout, whatever they had, and then they don't have a what's next because they don't know. There's so much information coming at us. It's like, well, what do I do that would actually work? And then we get overwhelmed by all of the options, and then we go into shutdown, and we don't really change anything because we're just too flooded with all these options. So we go back to what we know, which tends to be the unhealthy behaviors. When I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety in 2017, I was looking for solutions. I went to a psychiatrist, and this doctor sat with me, and we did tests to really discover, what do I have going on here? And he found that I had a moderate degree of generalized anxiety disorder. And I said, do you think I'm a narcissist? And he goes, brother, everybody has traits for something, but having traits doesn't merit a diagnosis. And so that was a relief to me to hear that from a professional, that having traits for something. And when you look at PTSD and complex PTSD, a lot of the traits that show up in those I guess we'll call them illnesses here, are really unhealthy. Ways that we've learned to manage those are really unhealthy. And if we're ill-equipped to handle those, we're going to go back into the patterns we've known, even though they're uncomfortable, just because we don't know what to do next. And that's where the 12 journeys really helps people to have not only an understanding of themselves, but a compassion for themselves and tools to be able to step into it, to really manage and work with it, not try to get rid of it, right? Because I found that what it takes to get rid of anxiety is what it takes to get rid of you. And that's not the business we're in.
Absolutely, absolutely. And for so long, so long, I wanted to get rid of anxiety. I want to get rid of the pain, rid of depression. And the only way out is through, feel it. And there's a difference between, like you said, staying in that once you've learned how to have the compassion and I would say seeing your innocence in the way you're being. Then after that, again, it's such a feeling. I mean, you guys experience it with yourselves when you're in that moment where you see the innocence and the compassion in yourself. It's such a homecoming feeling where the pain is still there. It's not going anywhere. But there's this quiet, this stillness where you acknowledge that you're okay, because the only time you won't be okay is when you're dead. I know it's a bit rough to say that, but
I want to shift a view of that, because people say the only way through it or to get over it is to get through, to go through it, right? But I think it's to go alongside it, to go with it, to allow anxiety to lock arms with you and depression to lock arms with you and walk alongside them through this process of healing, because there's no getting rid of these things. There's just learning to love these parts of you that are engineered biologically and neurochemically to help you to navigate life. And so we've been taught by a society that we shouldn't have these. We need to hide these. They're not acceptable. They're not acceptable at work. I remember going through my divorce and I was struggling. I was in my room crying in my office, and my manager comes in and he says, "Are you all right?" And I said, "No, I'm not all right." And he goes, "Well, it's not our problem. You need to go figure it out." And I was like, wow, there's no room for me to be going through what I was going through. And that's a problem, because we are all humans and we all feel these emotions. And then we try to get others to go through their emotions the way we want them to go through their emotions. It's like, you can't have anxiety. I have anxiety. We can't both have anxiety right here. Right. And that's how society tends to treat it. It's like, you need to get over it so I can be okay. And it's like, no, that's not how it works. Right.
Yeah, it's not, because it's with everything, really. We talk about anxiety, but so many people, the first thing, say, for example, you meet somebody who going through grief, and I mean, like, whatever grief, whatever grief. And the first thing the person will want to do is fix the other person. And especially with grief, it's like, you'll be okay. Oh, chin up. It's all right. It's okay. Life, life is bad. It's bad sometimes, but you can do more, be better, more. You can be a better parent, or you can be a better teacher, or you can be a better leader. We all go into this sweet little, we think it's putting people up, but it's actually making them feel more, wow, I'm lacking something.
Ashamed,
I'm not
right?
I'm not right.
Yeah.
And try to say to someone who's got grief or anxiety, to say, just chin up. Like, what you're talking about, like, other people are starving in Africa, like, but because the compassion, when people don't feel this compassion, experience it with themselves, it will be very hard to have it with someone else. Like, the way you listen to me right now, you probably listen to yourself that way.
Yeah.
The way you love somebody, the way you love yourself, will be the way you will love another. Like, we all are a mirror of one another as well. However, if you can't sit with pain, you won't be able to sit with the pain of another. If you can't sit with your anxiety, you won't be able to sit with the anxiety of another. And if you can't sit with your own truth, you won't be able to sit with the truth, whether different or not, of another.
Yeah,
that's my experience of it.
There's a thought here, when it comes to grief, is, You know, when we say positive things, oh, you'll be okay, just move on. It's been a year, just move on. We're not trying to help their discomfort. We're trying to help our own discomfort from their discomfort. Like, you're making me uncomfortable. I need you to do this so that I can feel comfortable over here. So I'm going to tell you some positive words so that I can feel comfortable with your discomfort. Right. And the
Yeah.
reality is that's a person that hasn't really fully learned how to be with their own discomfort. So what they've learned to do is to put it out there is, if I can make you feel better, then I'll feel better. And the only way for
Absolutely.
me to make you feel better is to tell you to get over what you're going through so that I can feel better over here, because you're making me really uncomfortable. Right. That's what's happening. But when you can sit with somebody and say, oh yeah, I go through things like that too. Oh, I have experience like that too. It normalizes it. It makes not being okay, okay. And that's what the person needs more than anything, is to know that they're not broken, because it's not faulty equipment here. It's the way we've been programmed, and we can shift that. But when you feel like you're broken, then you become ashamed. And when we're shameful, it's an identity thing. I'm no longer worthy. I'm no longer good enough. I'm faulty. Right. And who wants to change from that space? And imagine the anxiety that comes up when you think you are unworthy, broken, right? Faulty. Now the amount of anxiety is exponentially increased.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, have you seen social media? Sometimes the way people comment on certain things is just,
Yeah,
wow.
it's cold.
Like, it's harsh. Wow. Do you speak to yourself like this? I feel, I feel, I feel sad sometimes when I say that.
Mm,
And yeah, it's society is really pushing you to not feel things and scroll things quicker. Let's do this quicker. Let's go there. Let's do that. And the slowing down of things never happen. So you never truly feel you. Like,
mm,
there's so many people who talk great wisdom, but I don't necessarily feel them either. You know, like, it's it's really an experience of the being, the way you are being. We were talking about Steve Hardison, and yeah, the way you are being, the tone of voice, the way you listen, the way you move into the world, the way you move into love, is, yeah, it's that experience that will create connection or not.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Ryan, what are you hearing in this?
Well, I was sitting here thinking about, like, because obviously all three of us have felt some level of anxiety, and to probably a pretty good degree. And I'm sitting here thinking about, you know, back before I had all of this information. I've got a lot of information. Nick and I have sat on hundreds and hundreds of podcasts and talked to hundreds and hundreds of coaches and thousands of hours of time put into this, and we've done the work. It still comes up. It doesn't just go away. It still comes up, but now we know more what to do in the process, and we're aware and we can go through it. But I'm sat here thinking about, okay, does somebody who's just starting into this, the anxiety comes up, the old patterns come in, the survival kicks in, the automation starts happening, but then they want something different. They know there's something else there. And in part of our program we talk about acceptance, and seeing the world as it is, seeing how things are. Like, this is what's real. We used to tell my daughter, she had really, really heavy anxiety as a little kid. Just always this ball of anxiety, worried about everything. And we came up with, well, it wasn't my doing it. This was a really nice therapist. This man was very loving and caring, and he gave her these magic words, he called it, and it was, I'm all right and I'm okay. And what he was doing is trying to shift the story and help her catch, like, when these feelings come up, I can say my magic words, right? And tell myself a different story, and then go down that path and see reality as it is, that it's not really what we call you're not getting attacked by a bear. Now, if you are getting attacked by a bear, then that's real. You should run. Like that's a real thing. Or trip your friend and run faster. Like
That's probably the better
Yeah.
way to go,
yeah,
right?
I'm not very quick, but I could trip somebody and beat them. No, but you got to see reality as it is and recognize what's real, what's not real, what are the stories. And Nick's masterful at talking about acceptance, and I think that's a big key to here is um, just knowing that it doesn't mean that you resign to it, right, Nick? And you can help me, Nick, on some of this stuff, but
No, you're doing good. You're
you
doing good.
it's okay that there's a bear in the field. It lives there. You don't need to go attack it. You could just see it. Magic words are still used today. Yes, they are. I use my magic words, and it
What's up,
uses her
Amber?
magic words. uh and it's just so that we can cause that little bit of pause, like you were talking about, that little bit of separation where you can become aware and go, okay, I'm not that thing, or I don't have to do anything necessarily right away, but I can create this pause. And whatever that is for somebody, whether it's your magic words, whether it's catching yourself and being able to, that next little step is crucial. That could be throwing on some music, that could be going outside and screaming to the, yelling, and letting out some of those emotions, allowing them to be there. They have a right to be there. They're part. You're feeling them. Emotions are meant to be felt. So feel it however
Absolutely.
you can do it. And if you need to get some separation so that anxiety does settle a little bit, so then you can get clear here and here, then you can move through. And so it's interesting. I was just sitting here going backwards, thinking about, you know, uh, the start of recognizing that for me, and then being able to then practice and shift. And my family will tell you that I'm not perfect at it all the time. There's still moments where stuff comes up. It's because that those habits and some of that patterning was pretty deep, and it's just part of the work. It's just
Yeah.
gonna it just is. And so I keep practicing the work. When it comes up, I get quicker and quicker. Steve Hardison, I talked to him about some of that stuff. Like, Steve Hardison, do you ever feel fear? And he's like, yeah, of course I do. I just shift quicker. His bat speed has gotten very fast, and so that's the work. I've learned how to not judge myself as harshly. It still comes up. That part of me still stands up on the bus, tries to grab a hold of the wheel, say, "You should know better. You should do this. This, you're an idiot. You're this. You're that." Whatever type of things have been programmed in, still step up every now and again. And I've learned to create that pause. I love that you talked about that. Find the pause and have a conversation with it and let it settle down, and hey, I'm the driver, it's okay, and if I need you, I'll let you know. We're not getting attacked by a bear right now, so you can go sit back down, and I've got this. It's a beautiful thing. So anyway, that was what was on my mind, Nick, because you were just
Yeah.
reflecting of my own journey and relating to what's being shared here.
Yeah. Anais, go ahead. I see some thoughts on your face there. Go ahead and share.
I love I love to hear you, Ryan, on that. It was really that I felt emotional just listening to you, because I could feel in me the pride of having found that pose, and I could feel your pride of, like, find that pose as well. But not it's not an ego pride. It's like, yeah, I see you. I hear you. Um, I feel for me it was the most challenging thing, especially I have abandonment wounds, childhood, and so this would come up in very different situations, and it's very layered. It's like an onion, you peel up, and then there's one more to come, one more to go. And it's very interesting how the mind can have this elasticity, and you can still learn about it. Like your course say that as well. Like it was mind-blowing to see, to learn about the brain. And I love that it's like learning how to ride a bike again. The first time you ride a bike, you're on three wheels, and then you take off one wheel, and then you got still someone behind you, like trying to keep you afloat. And then you fly, you ride a bike. And so it's kind of like this, isn't it? The work. You just keep riding a bike all the time, isn't it? I
Yeah,
feel.
I agree with you. When we look at the 12 journeys, we're not trying to scrap people's identity. We're not trying to say, let's completely rewrite you. We're trying to rewrite the parts of them that no longer serve them. And that's what we call the small parts, is the parts that are just getting in the way of your growth and your potential. And so that's where, I think a lot of people have a tendency to go in and try and fix everything. And that's just too much. It's too overwhelming. And we go into shutdown mode and we just can't make it happen, because it does take that being terrible at it long enough to get good at it. And you've got to learn to take the training wheels off with each small, right? And so that's where the 12 journeys come in, is because you can go through the journeys again and again with each part that is no longer useful. And so when it comes to, going back to the idea of anxiety, it's that who I am and who I've been created to be based on my development, my own experiences and traumas and everything that's happened to me. That's who I think I am. And I think I need to be this because society tells me I need to be this. So the gap is created right there. And then we're no longer okay with who we are. So we feel anxious about who we are in relation to who we think we should be. Right. And then we think of our own ideals, which are often just, morphs of the social ideal. Then we also measure ourselves and we find ourselves wanting in relation to that. So we feel depressed. We feel anxious because we're not measuring up to who we think we should be. And the reality is you're already okay who you are. So we don't really have to get rid of that, because there are a lot of things about you that are just phenomenal and that make you who you are. And you wouldn't be who you are without your life experiences. But there are certain things that are getting in the way of you creating this world that you want to create out here. That's what we want to play with, right? Is that what you experienced in the 12 journeys? I mean, did you have some awakenings around that, to those parts?
Yeah, definitely. When I spoke earlier about the space with you, where I find things being more clearer for me, definitely one part was the fear of, again, not being good enough. Even as an emotional intelligence profiler, and I want to really specify it, because that's just
Yeah.
a title. That's not who I am. And that clarity was definitely around, because when you start to learn and have a strong sense, or a good sense of who you are, and create it in yourself, like you said, we're not becoming it. We already are it. It was just flooded with all these beliefs from wherever we learn them from,
Mm-hmm.
um, and anxiety. So once you take this off, all those labels that you've learned you thought you were, then that's where who you are comes out, truly. Um, so when I started to do the work, I peeled all those layers, had a very good starting ground of who I was, and definitely felt who I was. Then boom, life sent me a great curveball, and then another one that topped it off. Came into your space, and somehow the fear still was, this is who I am.
Mm.
And yet the fear of not being good enough was still there.
Mm.
And it was very demotivating. I felt very demotivated. I felt very, can I really do this? Can I trust myself enough to do this?
Mm.
Then came into your space, and just in your presence, in you meeting me there, this solidified a foundation of, yeah, I'm okay. I can trust me, because who am I in my core? Who am I being? Is there. And so I won't drown like before. I can stand up another time. I can fall and stand up again. And I'll still be okay. That's what it gives me in the space with you.
Mm.
That real solid, yeah, strong sense of self-worth and self-love.
Amazing.
I feel I had to go through for me to actually truly feel it and be with it. I don't know if that answers your question. I feel
No,
like I
that's
just
that's
went
perfect.
for a
And
tangent again.
you're doing that work now. You mentioned Ellen Crotty, who you're working with. Is that right?
Yes.
In emotional
Oh, yes.
intelligence. And now you're helping people do this work for themselves with her. Can you speak about what you guys are doing with your project?
Yeah, we started creating an emotional intelligence in conversation. I won't say podcast, but it's more of a conversation that we're gonna have every 2 weeks in a month, 10 people maximum. And what will happen is exactly that space that I've met with you when you met me right there. So we're
Yeah.
not teaching AI. We're not being there to give you tools to, be the better individuals, better leader, or whoever you want to be better with. But we will be right there, meeting you right there in real time with your AI, bringing those unconscious patterns and bring more awareness. And I feel the coaching spaces and the society in general are missing a lot of that, of those spaces where we can meet each other on the same
Mm.
level. So you were talking about earlier in living something in people, or rather a purpose or legacy when you met Steve, and then you then ripple effect that into around you,
Yes. Yeah.
and that's kind of a legacy that is what is living into you, that experience with them, and then you share that around you. And for me, I have, in my truth, there is very distinct difference between living something for somebody and living something in somebody.
Mm.
So what Steve left in you was a lived in experience and feeling that you now share with other people.
Definitely.
And and this is what we want to do as well in this emotional intelligence conversation with Ellen. It's really bring people to a lived in experience where they can feel themselves into it and then ripple effect that into their
That's
own
yeah.
their own surrounding, um and yeah, make an impact on their own, because people are their own people. And
Mm.
I feel sometimes we have views and idealism and beliefs that subtly bring in more followers, but not leaders of themselves. Does that make
Mm.
sense?
Yes. Yeah.
Like we often bring our beliefs and values for other people to follow us, but we want to create not followers. We want to create leaders of themselves, of people. Like you are your own, Nick,
Yeah.
and Ryan, you are your own. So they can lead themselves.
Yeah. And then that ripples
I'm not
out.
gonna lead them.
Yeah. So
You
do you have
know,
a website that people can go to learn about this?
say that again.
Do you have a website that people can go to learn about this?
We don't have a website. However,
Okay.
we will have just a DMs and email for now.
Okay.
And we're creating a whole community, but that will come later. I'm not gonna speak more, but
Yeah.
however, it will be on DMs
Okay.
only.
If you can share that in the Tribe of Giants when it's free, when it's available, please do that. Um, as I
Okay.
reflect on this, on your journey, when you came into the program, you were part of a really small cohort out of the UK, and so we had I
Yeah.
think 3 people in the group, and it was amazing to have all 3 of you come together, do your own work, but also support each other in that journey, and to see you continuing to ripple out from there. It's not there's no credit to the 12 journeys. 12 journeys is an operating system that helps people to really step up in their personal development. So it's not anything new. It's stuff that we've collected from all of the research that's been done by all these giants that have put me on their shoulders and more. And so we've tried to find a way to really create a program and system that somebody can take into their life for the rest of their life and continue to create the impact that they're only capable of creating. And so that's what we try and install in that short period that we have together, which is about 6 weeks. But you can see well beyond the 6 weeks that it continues to have impact in your life. Is that
That's what you
accurate?
live in, people, Nick.
That because now you're a leader, you're self-leading, and now that's rippling out. That's amazing.
Yes,
That's amazing.
absolutely. And your 12 journeys where there were tools, and there were also a feeling experience that is feel for me was missing in the experience I had in coaching spaces, which a human being is a human being.
Yeah.
There's you got to meet them where they're at. We spoke about that, and the knowledge and the wisdom is great, but experiencing another is a different level of
I love
connection in
it.
my
Yeah.
truth.
Is there anything else you want to share today before we wrap up? Anything that you're nudged to share with the viewer?
Um, thank you for being here. Thank you for inviting me. It was an honor to be here, and yeah, let's leave something in people more than 4 people.
I love it. I love it. Ryan, final thoughts here?
Well, what I hear is gratitude. Gratitude for the life experiences, gratitude for uh, the people that come into your space, my space, our space. Gratitude for the curveball. Um, because life will throw those curveballs, and without them, it doesn't give you the opportunity for the growth. So even though that's never really that exciting when it comes in, or doesn't feel exciting at the moment, sometimes when you get a big curveball that comes in, and uh, they're growth points, and I'm grateful for those curveballs because they've made me, they've made you, they've made Nick Smith who they are, and helped us to remind ourselves um, to go back to our core. You talked about peeling back those onion layers, and that those give us that chance to do that, and to really start being uh, in the world, and then creating a ripple effect. And you've done that. I'm so grateful right now for the impact of Nick Smith and being able to sit with people and um, just to be able to feel on a human level, because he's been through stuff too, and relate to the best that he can in that model of relating, just as a human to human, and uh, although Nick, we call it Nick knowledge. Nick has so much knowledge and so many tools. He just soaks it up, and he loves finding things that will help other people. But really, when it comes down to the core, he's been through it too, and so he locks arms and connects, breathes hope into you. Uh, he's not like that manager that was just, sorry, that's not my problem. You get over it, figure it out. Here's some tools. He goes, all right, I understand, and I've been there, and so let's lock arms and go together. And then that I've seen it time and time again, where then that person then does the work, because it is work, and and boom, bang, bong. A few months later, here they are on Wake Up with Giants TV, making a giant impact and a ripple in the world, and creating courses and creating connections and creating all kinds of things in the world, just like you are doing right this very minute. And so it's extremely humbling. I'm grateful for you sharing your experience, because what it does is it helps me selfishly. It helps me, so I appreciate that. But then also, because it also helps so many other people. This is now recorded, and it'll stay out there for a long period of time until somebody takes it down somewhere along the way. Or we do something weird and then get banned or blocked or something, but I doubt that that'll happen. We've done some weird stuff and it hasn't happened yet. So, um, but now it's going to be that ripple. You are being that ripple, and so thank you so much for all that you are and all that you're going to continue to be, to bless other people. And my anxiety level has gone down. Uh,
Sure.
just from being in your presence. So thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you.
Anais, thank you. For those that are watching, we appreciate you. Your comments make this show. And also, you know, in the Tribe of Giants, we see you guys posting every day in there. And it's incredibly helpful. I go through and read a lot of those posts in the Tribe of Giants. We give that as a space for you to really share with others and make your ripple and impact. And Anais, I hope you'll go in there and share some of your information with the tribe, and let them know what you're up to, because it is really serving. And, you know, for those that are watching, if you know somebody that could use this message today, send it to them. It's available on YouTube right now. Make sure you subscribe when you're over there, but send them the link and tell them why they should watch this video and what you got out of it that you think would be impactful for them. And if you go through that channel, you'll see we have over 850 videos like this, 330 interviews plus and counting. And our goal is to serve you and help you to really discover how amazing you really are and grow into it. So go make it a giant day. We love you, and we will see you in the next video.
Love you too.